So let's talk straps for a minute, and specifically BluShark straps. And as you can see, I have a variety here. About a month ago, BluShark emailed me. They said they ran across one of my older videos where I was talking about one of their straps, and they wanted to know if they could send me some of their newer versions. As I'm not one to turn straps down, I immediately said yes. And this actually worked out perfectly timing-wise. The day before, I actually saw an ad for one of their new SharkFin style straps, and I was actually thinking about ordering a few to check out. So instead, I just asked them to send me a couple, as well as whatever else they thought was interesting. And that's exactly what they did here, as this is a small treasure trove of leather and nylon. So let's dive in and first start off with the leather straps. And with what I think is the absolute best looking combo here, which is my Seiko Ghost Alpinist paired with a mahogany border stitch. Although while this is the best looking combo here, this is my least favorite straps by far. And that's just because it is thick. I mean, really thick. I think it's about 4.5 millimeters thick, and that will require a long break-in period, which is something you definitely feel when you first try to put this thing on. I could barely even get it on the last couple of holes. Although once it is broke in, it may be worth it, as this is a nice looking strap. And I believe that all three of the straps here are made with Italian calfskin leather, as well as all three of them do have quick release. The only big issue I have with this specific strap is this jumbo and crazy sized keeper. And it's so big that it even just slides right off the strap, and that's just kind of dumb. Now, I don't think you're actually going to lose this, but it still is kind of dumb. Next up is the Hazelnut Brown 2-stitch, and here I put it on my Glycine Airman. I really like how this strap looks on this watch, and this may stay on it for the near future. Now, just like the mahogany one, it is Italian calfskin leather, and it does have quick release. But it has a very different build and texture. It's more what I would refer to as a classic style strap. The exterior has almost a two-tone effect, where it gets darker as you get to the outer edges. It's also much smoother on the outside, and much thinner and much more pliable than that last mahogany one, which translates into instant comfort right from the get-go when you put it on. Now, the underside of this strap is more of a raw or unfinished feel. And in that way, it kind of reminds me of the great unlined leather strap Vair has. Although that one I think is a bit better, as it is premium Horween leather. Overall, it's a pretty good strap. The only thing that kind of bothers me is right here where it sort of folds over on the inside, as that is just paper thin compared to what I've seen before. And the last of the leather straps is easily my favorite, and that's with this light brown rally strap. And here it's paired with the Champagne Orient Star Classic I showed off in an unboxing a few weeks ago. Now, typically a rally strap wouldn't go on a dress watch, but I'm not exactly a typical kind of guy, and I think this looks pretty cool. Now, just as before, it's also quick release, and it has a really nice finishing, and I do like how it tapers down a bit. I think this one has a perfect balance between thickness and just pliable suppleability. And the keepers are also great here. They're not even close to being jumbo sized like the other ones. Although one odd thing I did notice is that this is the only leather strap they sent me that actually has a BluShark logo on the buckle. Not really sure why that is. Overall, it's just a nicely made rally strap, and I have nothing bad to say about it, and it's easily my favorite out of the three. Although one thing to note is that with the leather on these straps, they're not excessively long. So if you have over 7.5-inch wrist, this may not fit you. And with my 7.25-inch wrist, most of these I was on the third to last hole. So not a whole lot of wiggle room there. Now, all three of these straps are listed at $42, and that I'd say is kind of mid-range as far as leather straps go. They may be a little higher than some other similar style straps I've seen, but given the quality of the leather that I see here, I think they're right around where they should be price-wise, and these are definitely better than most $20 straps I've run across. Now, BluShark is newer to making leather straps. They're more known for their nylon ones, and I think that does show a bit here in just how big some of those keepers are, as well as how stiff some of the straps are. Now, don't get me wrong, there is still a lot of good here, but I think they're still working some things out. However, their nylon strap game is on point. I've always felt that BluShark makes some of the best nylon straps out there. The stitching is solid, and the hardware is always very sturdy and very beefy. And I always feel like the nylon is a little nicer and a little better than some of the other straps I've run across. However, all of this does come at a premium price, and especially for a nylon strap. So just bear that in mind, and we'll talk more about this at the end. So let's start off with this one here, and this is their Alpha Premier strap in what they refer to as the Bond 2021 colorway. So this colorway is a bit different, so I wasn't quite sure what to pair it with, and I just wound up taking a guess and going with my Champagne Khaki King. And overall, I think it does work. I was just kind of hoping that these yellow lines would wind up working with the dial. Now, this is an interesting strap, and I'm really glad they sent it, and not just because it's a different colorway, but because it kind of leads me full circle back to the video they saw before contacting me. Now, that video was one where I compared the original seatbelt style Alpha Shark to the Barton equivalent. And they do still have that original Alpha Shark, but the Alpha Premier here is kind of an evolution of that, as it's a little softer and a little thinner. I think the original one was about 1.4 millimeters thick, and this is only 1.2, which really doesn't sound like a lot, but I noticed it as soon as I picked it up. And when you're dealing with heavier and thicker watches, every millimeter or portion of a millimeter counts. But the colorway is a bit different, and especially compared to, say, the normal Bond colorways that people are used to. Yet this is easily one of the best NATOs I've run across. Good stitching, beefy hardware, and a nice sliding keeper. If you're looking for a great premium NATO, regardless of cost, which I think is important here because this is listed at $36, then this would be one I would easily recommend. However, before you buy this, I would recommend checking out these other three that they sent me, as I think the textured weave on them gives them a much more interesting look. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting is that these new models of BluShark straps are all single passes, rather than, say, the double pass NATOs that you usually find. Which is something that I think more people are looking for. In fact, I've had a number of people tell me that they take regular NATOs and then just cut off the bottom strap to make them a single pass. So it's nice to see that BluShark is actually listening to what people want. And it's nice to see more single pass options in the marketplace these days. Now, the shark weave pattern is really cool. It's basically a herringbone texture put into the nylon strap. And I think it looks fantastic. That textured pattern really comes through, and I think these images easily speak for themselves. It's not quite as smooth to the touch as, say, the Alpha Shark is, but it's not bad either, and definitely better than a regular NATO. Now, if there's one downside to these straps, it is that they are a little thicker, and I think they are listed at 1.6 millimeters. But I think that also is kind of a positive, as it does give it a bit more of a sturdy feel, and especially with the 22 millimeter version here that's on the Kamasu. Although I think the textured pattern actually comes through better on the glossy blue version, which here I have put on one of the new Seiko 5 field watches. And if this review is not already out, it will be shortly. Either way, they're very cool and very different. But again, we are dealing with a slight premium, as both of these are listed at $32. And last, we have the Black and Stone colorway, which is in a knit weave. And here I've put it on my Hamilton Intramatic, as it's kind of hard to go wrong with a black strap on a Panda. Now, this knit weave is rather Tudorish. In fact, I think they actually refer to it as a Tudor style strap. It's also a thinner strap at 1.2 millimeters, and that's pretty obvious after handling the 1.6 SharkFins. So it is not quite as sturdy as those. Yet I think the more uniform texture and thinness actually leads to a slightly more comfortable fit on the wrist. And all while having a very interesting texture that looks great next to a variety of dials. And just like the SharkFin strap, these are also listed at $32. So again, they're all premium style straps. Now, between the three styles of straps, it's kind of hard to say which is the best, as they all sort of have their own strengths and weaknesses. However, if I had to pick one, I would say the SharkFin is my favorite, as I haven't really seen a texture like this on a nylon strap before. It also has a nice sturdy feel to it, while still being thinner than a regular NATO. One of the reasons I don't like Perlon style straps is that they always feel really flimsy, and you don't have that here at all. So these are all fantastic straps, but this is quality you are going to pay for. Competing seatbelt NATOs from Barton or Ritchie, they're going to run about 15 to 20 bucks. So while I think BluShark makes the better strap, it's kind of hard to say that these are twice as good. Which is basically what I said in that original video. However, things aren't quite as simple as they were back then. You see, back then the strap companies all had identical straps that were competing against each other. They all seemed to use the exact same colorways, and they all had a choice between a regular or a seatbelt style NATO. Whereas today, each company has thankfully diversified their portfolio, so it's not always going to be an apples to apples comparison. which I think you can easily see here, as the colorways or the textured styles of straps you're not going to find at Barton, and Barton's going to have a few things that BluShark won't have either. So if you're looking at anything other than a standard NATO, it's going to be a lot harder to directly compare and talk value, which is ultimately good because the more choice the better. Plus, BluShark does something to complicate matters further. Now, if you're only buying one strap and you're buying it through Amazon, it pretty much is what it is. But if you're buying multiple straps, it's actually best to go through BluShark directly, as they always seem to have a buy one, get one kind of deal, like buy two, get one free, or buy three and get two free, or even buy four and get three free. And that's also before any sales or discount codes that are occasionally floating around. So if you are looking to buy multiple straps, then those prices start to even out as you get more free straps. So overall, great straps, and I really like these textured single passes. So you'll probably see more of these in the future as I do other reviews. But it is time to wrap things up. So let me know down below what you think about these straps, the leather ones, the nylon ones, as well as what do you think about BluShark in general. Or if you can think of anyone that does it better for less, let me know down below as well. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Shane, this is Relative Time. See you next time.